Coming at you live again from JJ's library at her university. We are here today because it is Tuesday on the Breakfast Club, and that is my day. Now, today I'm going to be talking about two things. Wow, not just one. You get a bonus thing today. So, the first thing I want to talk about is Paul's video about kids, which I think I can address fairly quickly because my stance on it's pretty easy. I want kids. I love kids. On one hand, I'm kind of like, oh, it's kind of irresponsible to, keep populating this planet that is obviously far too overpopulated, and I should just adopt, which I wouldn't be against doing at all. But there's also, some value to me in, having a pregnancy and giving birth. That's very appealing to me. I don't really know why. I'm a very maternal person. So I would probably gonna have kids. I also spent a lot of time raising my little siblings. I have 5 little siblings, 4 little brothers and a little sister, littlest one being 10 years younger than me. So I spent a lot of my childhood, helping change diapers or changing diapers myself, babysitting. It was my whole life essentially. And I don't think I could live without kids. I would probably die. Okay, next topic. So I wanted to talk about something that's just been on my mind recently, which is this war between hard science people and soft science people, like sociologists and biologists, etc. Now, while I am of the opinion these two things can go hand in hand, I have noticed this little, now there's criticisms for both sides on various issues, because no one's free from criticism, but something that I've noticed is the addressing of micro issues. So, if I'm talking about something sociologically related, and or psychological, if I'm examining the motivations behind someone's behavior or the way people interact with one another, or I'm reading about someone else who's doing such a task, you really gotta look closely and deeply into symbolic interaction, and the way people speak. Linguistics is something that kind of goes into both categories. I love linguistics. It's one of my concentrations under my English major. And the thing is that all of the people I see on the internet who worship, not all of them, but many of the people I see on the internet who worship hard science completely mock the idea of analyzing human interaction on a micro level. They think it's useless, or they're going to take my argument or whoever's argument and just completely, rephrase it or take certain quotes out of context to make it sound ridiculous. And rather than addressing it and having a conversation about it, it's saying, I'm trying to think of an example. I think internalized misogyny, although that's not even super micro, but it's a concept, right? The concept of internalized misogyny. So it's a thing that I think exists, and I'm not saying it exists on a wide scale, but it's a concept that I think exists. The application of this concept happens far too frequently. You can't just disagree with a woman and be like, oh, you have internalized misogyny, and I don't agree with that. But talking about this concept is interesting to me. The way you psychologically internalize your surroundings, etc. So when someone takes this argument and completely dismisses it and is like, this is impossible, and makes broad strokes and generalizations about the state of humanity and how people feel on a very superficial level, it's kind of irritating, because I'm like, what if someone told you, don't pay attention to atoms because they're too small? Oh, really? We're all made up of these really super tiny small things? Yeah, right. And make you sound ridiculous for it. It's you wouldn't do that in hard science. In hard science, the more narrow you get, the more specialized you get. Oftentimes, the more respect you get. When in a sociological perspective, the more narrow and specified you get, the more you get mocked. Because, well, I'll be honest, a lot of concepts, if you look at it on a superficial level, you're like, haha, yeah, right, or it sounds funny or whatever, and you don't give it a chance. But then if you look into it and actually put an effort into trying to understand what the person's saying, you're like, oh, okay, I see your logic there, and you can disagree, agree, whatever, but it's so dumb to just be like, oh, ha ha ha. I'm going to completely take everything you say out of context and twist it a little bit to make it sound like a hilarious joke or that people are ridiculous, etc. Um, so I just think that's a big frustrating thing for me. And obviously, you can make fun of whoever you want, you can make ridiculous arguments, but if you're going to be someone who's going to sit there and act like you want to have genuine conversation and that you want to make a genuine change in the world and you want to have a genuine influence, then I think you need to take other people's, like, listen to other people. You need to not just take someone's argument out of context to try to make it sound ridiculous and don't listen to anything that they say just because you disagree with them on a superficial level. Like, again, I think it's frustrating that on this side you're getting people who are like super encouraged to get more in depth. Like, it's like me saying we don't need to study science more, or we shouldn't study interactions more between, you know, any biological aspect of oneself, because, you know, we already know that humans walk and humans have this many organs and this many bones in their body, and that'll be enough for us. Like, the idea that you want to force people to stop educating themselves and stop trying to understand humanity more and like come up with new concepts, it's very frustrating and like frightening, because what if someone was trying to stifle your scientific research and was like, you should stop researching this because we already know enough about this, like it's useless, you know? I don't think it's fair. And that's how I feel about that. It's a little bit frustrating. It's something that I've noticed that happens a lot. I love you all, and I will see you next Tuesday. I don't know what Delaney Nicole's going to talk about tomorrow, so we'll see where he takes all of this week. Bye.